With Rebel Moon just around the corner, I have decided to go back and rewatch all Zack Snyder's films leading up to Rebel Moon. And I'm going to do retrospective look backs at all of his films. And we are starting off with his first ever film he made back in 2004, the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Now, in this whole retrospective series, there are going to be two movies. We are not going to do one because I have already done two of them when I did the Superman ones, which is Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. So you can check them out. They're on my channel now. So we'll not be doing those, but we will be doing the 7 other ones that he has done. And we're starting off with his first one. So let me know in the comment section below, what did you guys think of Dawn of the Dead? Smash that like button, click subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And let's talk about Dawn of the Dead right now. So Dawn of the Dead, that came out in 2004, the remake of the original Dawn of the Dead that came out in 1978, I believe. This remake was actually written by James Gunn. Can you believe it or not? I just didn't know that until I started rewatching it and then looked up. Okay, did Zack actually write this one? No, it was James Gunn. So that's pretty. There's a fun fact here. James Gunn actually wrote his first ever movie. But look, let's talk about Dawn of the Dead and what Zack Snyder was able to do with this movie. Now, if you guys haven't seen Dawn of the Dead, I don't know what rock you've been living under, but you guys need to go watch it, especially if you're into zombie films, because that's what this movie is. It's an action horror movie, and it's all about a zombie apocalypse. And what Zack Snyder was able to do with this movie is majestic, because this is, to me, superior than the original. And I really actually enjoyed this movie as a zombie movie itself and as an action horror movie, because there are so many elements that work throughout this whole entire film. Now, we know Zack Snyder is a controversial figure within the film community because of the stuff that happened with DC. You know, we have the Snyder fans and we have the DC fans, and we have this war all the time. It's always all on Twitter and everything like that. But no matter what you think about Zack Snyder, you know, some of his movies may not be to your taste. You may not like the dark tone that he does. You may not like, you know, the way that he writes his characters. You may not like that stuff. But there is one thing that objectively we can all agree on when it comes to Zack Snyder. The man's going to deliver a gorgeous film. Like, let's be real. The imagery that he is able to create in his mind to be able to put on the big screen is phenomenal. Like, the shots that he does in his movies are just freaking gorgeous, man. This guy knows how to make a good looking film. Now, Dawn of the Dead was made on a $26 million budget. Just remember that. And it came out in 2004. And it still holds up today. And there are so many shots throughout this movie that are just jaw-dropping. Absolutely gorgeous and spectacular. Like, there is this, like the wide pan shots of them on top of the mall alone is just absolutely beautiful to see. And it gives you the grand scope of what the actual situation they are in. Like, just the stakes. That you see all the zombies around the mall and you're like, damn, that is a lot of zombies. And just the way he's able to capture that image right there in that still moment just tells 1,000 words in that one picture. And it's absolutely brilliant. And then there's other shots as well that are just so gorgeous when you're watching it. And it's just shot brilliantly. The cinematography is just outstanding. And you know you're going to get that when you get a Zack Snyder movie, is you're going to get this gorgeous looking film no matter what. It doesn't matter whether it's going to be the DC film, whether it's going to be Sucker Punch, whether it's going to be 300, you know what you're going to get, and you know you're going to get a gorgeous film. And that's what Dawn of the Dead is. It's absolutely gorgeous. Then you throw in the practical effects. The practical effects throughout this film are absolutely beautiful. It just shows you that practical effects just seem to be better than visual effects. Like, any CGI that you put on like blood or anything like that just does not look as good as the practical. And when you are watching the zombies and you see them up close, the practical effects, the makeup, the design, absolutely gorgeous. And you can see when you watch The Army of the Dead, which is one of his newest films that came out, you can see the correlation between those zombies and the Dawn of the Dead zombies. And you can see how his other zombies were inspired by the Dawn of the Dead ones with those, you know, the visuals, the makeup, the physical, actual putting the things on people's faces to make them look realistic rather than just CGIing it on. And that's what I really appreciate when we do these horror movies like this. And that's what I appreciate with Dawn of the Dead, is they just look so real. The zombies look so real. And when the blood's coming out, it looks like real blood. Like when you get to that scene of the pregnant lady turning and giving birth is one of the most hardest scenes to watch. And you're sitting there and you're just waiting. And then you see the blood start to pour out. And it's just, it is a very hard watch, but it is just absolutely fantastic because of how visually stunning it is, because of the practical effects, because of the makeup, because of the cinematography. It's just absolutely fantastic. The action in this movie is shot brilliantly. I love the action in this movie, and it's the way that it's shot. When they're in the actual buses that they've done up, you get this beautiful visual moment of them running through, and you see just how hard it is to get through the zombies, even though they have all these freaking things around these buses to be able to just run over things. But you see the sheer numbers still overwhelm that. And just the action moments of that whole sequence is fantastic. When they're going across to Andy's gun store, the action through that are just absolutely phenomenal. The tension build up. And the way that he's able to build the tension up, especially in the last 40 minutes, because the first hour is spending time to get to know these characters, understanding the world that we're in, the situation that these people are in, how can they trust each other, what's going to happen, just bonding, getting to know each other, and really building that relationship with the characters so that when the final 40 minutes come in, the stakes are raised, the tension is raised, and you're sitting there rooting for characters and other characters where you're like, I cannot wait for you to die. And there's some things that happen that are said throughout the movie that do get paid off. There's a particular character called Steve, who you guys will know as Phil from Modern Family. Just imagine Phil from Modern Family, except turned into a rich asshole. That's what he plays in this one. It's hilarious and it's brilliant. And he's a character that, from the moment you meet him to the moment that he dies, you hate constantly. You're like, I wouldn't care if this guy died. Then there's another character who you meet for the first time called CJ, the lead security guard guy of the mall. When you first meet CJ, this guy comes off like that douche that is going to be the guy that's going to ruffle everyone's feathers, that's going to push everyone's buttons in the wrong way, that's going to, not trust anyone and not be able to be trusted at all. He just feels like that person. However, the development of CJ as the movie progresses, he becomes one of the characters you absolutely adore and love. I remember when we got into that last 40 minutes, CJ became my favorite character and I wanted him to live. I'm just seeing this guy, and when they're running through, with the zombies chasing him, every time CJ's there, you're rooting for CJ to get through. You're like, come on, CJ, come on, you can do it, because he just grows on you as a character. He develops, and it's a testament to Zack Snyder's vision to showcase that in the movie. But you also got to give credit to James Gunn for writing that character that way, because to me, the writing of CJ is absolutely superb. And then when you get to that sacrificial moment of him, when he sacrifices himself to save everyone else, it hits harder because you actually care for the character. And that's what they do really well. And another character that they do is one of our main leads. And you get attached to him because he's one of the ones you meet very, very first. And obviously him and Anna have this relationship. And it builds throughout. And you can see it coming. But then when something happens to him in the movie, and he has to stay behind, again, the impact is felt. The emotion is felt completely. And it's just absolutely phenomenal. And I really enjoy the characters in this whole entire movie. To me, that's what makes this movie so great, is the characters. Because you care for them. And when things go wrong, the stakes are right up there. There's this other character from Andy's gun store across the road who is called Andy. And you begin to see him develop a relationship with the people in the mall as they're talking over through a whiteboard, basically. And it's just this, no words are exchanged, but you feel that connection. And it's so brilliant that when the stuff happens to Andy, it's like a dagger to your heart because you wanted to see Andy get out there alive. And it's just absolutely brutal. But to me, man, that's what makes this movie so good, is that it has those stakes because you care about those characters. Then when you get to the ending, I applaud Zack Snyder and James Gunn for the ending of this. To be able to write this ending, to have that ending like that, is absolutely fantastic. And for Zack Snyder to shoot it that way, just added that little bit of extraness to it. And what I mean is, because obviously you know the ending when they get onto the boat and they leave and they go into that island. And during the credits, you get a moment where it's like they find the camera of Phil Dunphy, who's not actually Phil, but you know, they find his camera and just start to play things, but they start to film themselves as well as they get closer. And when they get closer to the island, they realize that they get overrun. So it's implied straight there that they all die in that moment because there's no other place to go. And I absolutely love that idea of an ending to showcase you that there's no happy endings in a zombie apocalypse, realistically. There is no way that you can get out in happily because there's just the sheer numbers of zombie. And I'm glad that they went that way. The opening sequence itself as well, horrific, absolutely horrific. Imagine your child eating you to death, basically, biting you, and that set the tone for what this movie was going to be about, was that moment where that little kid latches onto her father, and you're just like, damn, this is going to be insane. But look, overall, I absolutely love this movie. I think this is one of his best movies, and it's his first ever movie that put him on, you know, this trajectory of becoming a great filmmaker. And I am absolutely grateful that he did create this film and brought this to life, because look, it's one thing for you to be able to write your movie because you could visually see it in your head. So when you're writing it, you know what you're looking for. But for someone else to write that movie like that, and for Zack Snyder to get that script, to visualize it, and to put it on the big screen, to make it that visually great, that shows real talent. And look, to me, I love Dawn of the Dead, and I think it's better than the original. And I absolutely love it. So let me know what you guys think of Dawn of the Dead. Did you guys love it? Did you not? Smash it down in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Click subscribe. And I'll see you guys next video. Until next time, and peace out.